A little insight that Dan Savage, even as a young guy, because he claims he was a lifelong fan, loved this idea of an advice column. But as you say, this isn't the fastest way to get your advice.
No.
You've got to leave that. Now, it's a little faster, maybe, than, the old snail mail would have been where you were writing in. He has a phone number that he gives out every week. If you want to ask him a question, you call that number. And if he picks you within a few days, if you're chosen, you're going to hear the advice. But it's not immediate. It's not, I'm bleeding profusely right now. I've cut my femoral artery. What do I do? That's not what you call him.
Right.
But maybe more long-term problems. But go on, Doug. So that's issue one, is you thought this is not a fast way to get feedback.
And then, and I'm just going to throw it out there because I don't know. I'm assuming he has many fans.
It's a popular show, yeah.
Very popular. So
he is considered, he's basically the Dr. Ruth of the current generation. He's the national sex expert.
He has 500,000 followers on Twitter, so I assume that he's pretty well known.
Right. So just to my point that your odds of being one of, I'm sure, the thousands of messages that get left for him each week, So, yeah, I guess if you think your topic's interesting enough that he may pick it and,
But, it's conceivable that he could be answering these questions not on the air if they're, or maybe he has a team of people. Because the other thing is that he's not an expert. He's not claiming to be any kind of doctor or anything like that. He's just a guy who's answering questions. And so part of it's entertainment. Like, one of the podcasts that we've covered on this show is How Did This Get Made? And How Did This Get Made has a off episode, a 0.5 episode, where you can call in to this hotline and talk to Paul. And
the mini episodes.
Yeah, the mini episodes. And so it's conceivable that people are calling in, they leave him a message. If the question doesn't get answered, then either they move on with their lives or they call again and ask again. Because that's one of the things that Paul does. He says, if I didn't answer your question, then it's not going to get answered. You can call and ask it again if you like. And so it's something that I think that timely responses isn't really the purpose, because if anybody's calling with like really life or death, like, oh my God, this needs to be solved right now, I think that there's some element of novelty even for the callers.
Sure.
Of this excitement of, I get to be on the show and I get to talk to Dan or have Dan respond to me.
I'm sure and this goes back to the, I'm bleeding out, what should I do?
Right.
It's not those problems. Now, Doug, you heard a variety of problems on both episodes. We'll stick with 419 right now. What did you think about the nature of the calls? They're very different. Some are explicitly sexual. Some are about relationships.
Yeah.
Some could be called, love or relationship as opposed to sex advice, even though he is regularly referred to as a sex advice columnist. What did you think about the calls? What did you think about the quality and nature of his advice? Did you think it was good advice?
Yeah, I would say you guys touched on a few things that I have in my notes. One is he made the statement, which I completely agree on, is advice is just an opinion. Happens to be his opinion.
Sure.
He's not claiming to be an expert. I'm sure he's got enough experience in these categories of just listening to people, answering questions, whatever, to make him an expert. But I appreciate that he's saying this is just my advice. You've asked me for my advice. I'm giving it to you because, as you both know, I'm not a fan of anyone pushing their advice on me or anyone else.
And do you feel he's pushing it? I mean, people are coming to him.
No, not at all.
So
I went into this very apprehensively, thinking I was not going to enjoy this.
Not
podcast.
because of the sexual nature, but because it's advice.
Correct.
Got it.
Just on that, I don't want to listen to anyone force their opinion on me.
Right.
And
if you had to choose, what do you like less? Acronyms or advice? What sticks in your craw more? Because we know you don't like both.
Unsolicited advice.
Now, this is solicited advice, but so we're categorizing. Yeah.
This gets a pass.
Unsolicited advice goes way to the top.
Okay.
If you ask my opinion or someone else's opinion, you deserve the answer you get.
Right.
Whether it's good or bad. And let me just, before you say it, I'll make it clear.
Sure.
I'm a big Dan Savage fan.
Cool.
After this.
Love it. Great.
I thought he was great.
Brandon, high five, bro. We so rarely get successes with
I
that.
agree.
All
Although,
right.
I just want to tell you one thing. When you were talking about that, I thought, the problem I'm having right now is you're not very passionate about it. Like, if you do like Dan Savage, I think you should be probably more passionate about your responses. So if you could just, like, in the future, maybe up your passion levels.
My passion for dance.
Yeah, if I had a little bit of advice for you, I'd just say,
Just up
for
it
our
up?
podcast, pump it up a
Yeah.
little, right, John?
That's great. I appreciate that you are forcing that on me.
You're welcome.
You know,
Thank you.
You know, it's for your own benefit.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
That
is
Actually,
actually
maybe you should be a little
good
grateful.
input.
Yes.
Doug, I like the shirt that you're wearing right now. When you walked in the door, I thought I like it, but
Yes.
I mean, this is
You want me
this
to
is
take it
just a
off?
suggestion.
Take it
No.
off? Oh.
Please keep your shirt on.
The sleeves are about down to the elbows. I like the color of the shirt. I even like the sleeves if you roll them up a little. My suggestion in the future would be maybe 2 cuffs, show off the arm a little bit more. Take it or leave it. Do what you want with that information. But I'm just saying that. Also, I've noticed the way that you're writing in your notebook right
we
now.
have driven
Yeah.
home the point.
It's a
that I don't
little
care for-
crowded because
And
you're
your-
writing on
your
every line. If you were
glasses
right on every
don't
other
quite
line,
fit your
then-
face.
So-
Maybe
yeah,
your
did you think
glasses
tortoiseshell was
a
the best
different
choice? Maybe a solid
shape.
black frame with a little.
Yeah,
a
I
gold
think that'd be
highlight.
actually really good.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just think
Okay.
you really could take some of our advice. You know, John and I know what's best for you, and so you should probably just listen to us.
Okay.
IMO. I'm just saying. No, I just wanted to combine initials.
So if I could-
Anyway, let's get back to it.
Yeah,
Doug,
I've lost
you,
my
you
full
liked
train of
the
thought.
show. It's a huge success for Brandon and I.
Yes.
This is really, you know what, Doug, shut up for a minute. This is a time for you and I to celebrate.
Yeah,
Brandon.
you know what? I really feel like we
did a
deserve
hell of a job.
pat
this
ourselves
week,
on the
didn't we?
back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to, don't want to sprain my hand, pat
No,
myself on the back
but
here, but
you've earned
I
it.
think we actually deserve
We've
a
earned
little
it.
break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too. I got to tell you, I appreciate that you assigned me something, and I know you have done this every time. Assign me something that you think I will enjoy.
We genuinely do. I
And
mean,
I
all
do-
joking
I do
aside,
know that.
Should
I
we
do,
we like
but-
to cut it up and have a little fun,
Right.
Yeah.
But all joking aside, Doug, we always hope you're going to like them, and we're usually surprised when you don't. I'm really glad you like this. Did any of the callers jump out to you?
I have a list of the colors if you'd like to hear what the topics were.
Yeah. Have you forgotten it? Do you need the list, or are you like, no? I know from 419. I know the people I want to talk about.
I don't. I mean, they're all kind of jumbled in there for me together.
Sure.
I do want to. I want to make a couple points.
Okay.
Yes.
One, and this is strong for me. I want
Yeah.
you to know, to me to write this about anyone, and obviously I don't mean it literally, but my note about Dan Savage and
Ooh, this is
was,
dangerous. I'm concerned.
Are you?
Yeah,
Little
that
drum
Doug's
roll,
going to
but
say
what I
something
wrote-
real hot.
Doug is a very open-minded, very liberal guy, so I said we just give him a chance, say what he wants to say.
That's true.
What I wrote
And then backtrack.
Yes.
was Dan Savage may be the voice of the nation.
Oh, wow.
Now, what do you mean by that?
So what I liked is he gave his opinion, which for the most part on almost every caller was either mind your own business.
Right. Now, that was the young lady who said, oh, I saw one of the teachers and with the
Yeah.
student, and
Right,
they were both
right.
It was an
of age.
administrator
I mean,
and a young
almost-
student.
Now, to be fair,
at a
Doug, I want
spa.
to bring this up. When I heard her call before he gave his advice,
Yeah.
I was like, if he doesn't say, and I don't want to be vulgar here, but mind your own fucking business. You're not helping anyone here.
Right.
This just sounds like you're calling going, I'm a busybody and I want to be more of a busybody.
I want to
Can
go to
be-
my small program in my master's program
Right.
and tell everyone what I saw and what I think, and
I want to tell
and
him
they should
that
be
I'm
outraged.
not going to tell everyone.
Yeah, he's like, I want to crow my own crow.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
a saying,
I think
guys.
that was
That's
one of it.
100%. By the way, hashtag crow my own crow.
Yeah. I did. Yeah, I like that. So you're going to tell him, you're going to bring up
That
what
you're
you're
not
not
gonna
going to
tell
tell
him.
him.
Yeah.
Right.
By bringing it up. Yeah, I thought that was great.
Me too.
And I think most of his advice, all of it, I mean, my note was just great common sense answers. I mean, because
Fantastic.
truly, which is why this format works for this advice show, because none of these are life and death questions.
Right.
Right.
Even the relationship questions.
Yeah.
Really, the answers were all common sense. Hey, if you're having trouble with your boyfriend, maybe actually say those words and let
Right.
them know.
Sure, the young
and vice
lady who
versa.
said, I don't want to
Right.
nag him, but he says he wants to lose weight, and then he eats a pack of Snickers in front of me, and
Yeah.
I don't want to say this, and all I could think during that was, you keep saying you don't want to change him, but you do, and that's okay
Right.
if these things really bother you. And it's
Yeah.
ultimately not going to work out because this guy's not changing. You have to
And
say,
you
hey,
just
I want
don't
things
you
to
just
change.
picture that girl is just so passive aggressive about everything.
But I'm not really sure what to do when I'm trying to say, hey, honey, I'm concerned about this thing. Please don't think that I'm trying to control you. I just am looking out for your best interest.
On that one, that's a tough one. I actually felt for that girl a little bit, but I agree that I want to go, sweetie, you do want these things changed by your boyfriend. These things do bother you, and you're eventually going to have to get to the point where you go, you know what, this bothers me.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Don't call me sweetie, okay? That is very aggressive.
Brandon, was that you who called in?
Shh.
Sorry.
Listen, okay? I want to speak to that because there was one thing that I didn't like that Dan said.
Okay.
Which was he basically gave it's either this or this is why he's acting this way. It was the one about the browser history.
There are two possible explanations. There's something in his browser history, or there was that day, that was so disturbing, so potentially prejudicial, that he had to throw himself across the room and slam that laptop shut, and he felt angry and potentially exposed and even violated by the suggestion that you might look at that browser history and learn X, Y, and Z about him. Or he's had girlfriends in the past who've done the same thing, who've looked at his browser history and gone completely psycho bullshit on him.
Right.
Where this girl's like, oh, let's have fun. I'm just going to check your browser history, which to me is insane. That's something that people shouldn't do as a fun thing to do. And then Dan's like, well, either he had a person in the past who burned him, or it's, let me check my notes.
Brandon pulling out the notes.
I mean, Brandon, I actually can just do it from memory.
And I was just
that's how committed I am to.
That's fantastic. You can't. But the thing, I was like, maybe he just doesn't want you going through his shit. Maybe if I'm a very committed relationship. I'm not concerned about how, whether or not Maria looks into my browser history, because nothing that I'm looking at is all that weird.
Right.
But I also I'd feel weird about her running over to my computer, starting to type and go, hey, I'm going to look through your browser history. That would be really strange to me, and it would be an invasion of my privacy. And Dan didn't ever talk about the invasion of privacy, which was so weird.
And did they say how long they'd been together? Because that's a really weird thing or a jealousy thing.
They said it was very early in the relationship, and it seemed to me like a
trust issue.
She kind of swore it off as no, I'm not a jealous person. I was just having fun. I was like, how is that fun? How is that a fun thing?
Well,
That's
she
very
had
strange
said
to me.
if memory serves, that she thought it would be kind of fun and sexy to find out what turns him on, to get a little bit more insight into, oh, you like this kind of pornography as opposed to this kind of pornography. Now, of course, that can go very, very wrong, depending on what kind of pornography
things you find.
I also thought that was the lie she made up after the fact.
I agree.
And
that's how I felt too.
You may both be right, and you're right. He didn't address that. Now, okay, so let me ask you this, Brandon. I'm going to ask you this, Doug. Since, Doug, you've been in a marital relationship with my lovely sister since 1989. Correct.
You are correct.
July of 89. Brandon, you've been in a relationship, and you've been live-in partners with Maria, and you're going to be getting married in just a few weeks. So you're both in long-term committed relationships and have been for quite a while.
We may be married by the time this comes out.
You may be married by the time.
I really
this
am not
episode
invited
comes
to
out.
the wedding, am I? I'm just hearing about this now.
It's possible.
He had to make a lot of difficult.
I had a lot of
cuts,
cuts.
a lot of family members.
I'm going to say it's okay.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me the permission to not invite you.
I mean, if you want my advice, let me just tell you what you should do.
Please.
Yeah.
Come on, Doug. Oh, wow. That's why I don't invite him.
Ouch. Yeah, Doug, I got to tell you, with that attitude, I'm not surprised you haven't been invited. But getting back to the issue at hand here, you're both in these committed relationships.
Yes.
Now, again, these are personal questions I'm about to ask. Both of you are welcome to send. There's going to be no repercussions for this. Just like there are apparently never any repercussions now if Doug doesn't listen to the episodes, because Brandon and I keep forgetting to give you challenges. But, Doug, it's because you're so damn good at listening to them. Right. You can both say, hey, I just don't want to answer it. But I'm not even going to ask about content.
Yeah.
Hypothetical, and when you answer as honestly as you can, Maria goes over to your laptop and goes, I'm going to pull up your browser history really quick. I just want to see what you're looking at. This will be fun. Does it bother you? Are you totally okay with it? Are you so good at hiding your browser history and all the weird porn that I'm assuming you... I'm guessing in your case it's like weird hentai and tentacle porn.
No. Yeah, a lot of people would say that about
video
me.
game fetish, yeah.
Say that about me, not the accurate.
But you know, the truth is, I actually picture you meat and potatoes type of guy.
I am a meat and potatoes kind of guy.
I believe that 100%.
But the other thing is that I am... it's something that Maria and I have actually had to deal with to a degree.
Yes.
And that
well, you're in close quarters. I mean, it's hard to enjoy your pornography and not have it known to your mate.
I'm an extremely private person when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Right.